those who wish to speak in opposition to the legislation, the first one we have is Kent Gabrielson of N2936 Welsh Cooley Road, representing the Crosse Area Realtors Association.
Thank you for letting me speak today. I guess in reviewing the report, I think there's some good ideas in it. I think there's a lot of bias, but overall it's just incomplete. It doesn't give any, it gives a lot of ideas, but it doesn't give any good direction as far as what direction the city should take in dealing with the issue. And there's a lot of, some of the suggestions I feel would infringe on private property rights. I was in here with Janie meeting last week. Somebody that had a house that was being used to rent it out, or moving out of the area. And I'm glad the exception was in there and they were able to rent it out by a narrow margin. And if they weren't allowed to, that would put that family in a lot of financial hardship. And there's a lot of families like that. I have a house for sale right now on 23rd Street, South 23rd Street. And I feel there's a lot less activity on the house because of the rental moratorium. People looking at it and saying, well, we don't know what direction the city's taking. And it goes both ways. People that would consider it as a rental, other people that want to owner occupy, and they're just not sure what the city's doing. And it's a lot of uncertainty, and it's bad for neighborhoods. So I feel continuing the moratorium is, for people that are trying to sell their house right now, it's a bad thing. It just gives a lot of uncertainty, and it's not good. One of the things that we haven't talked about is there more rentals now. And in the report, it says there's more than 800 students since 2000 that have moved to town that do not have on-campus housing available. So it's 800 students that have to live somewhere. And another big thing in the report is enforcing current laws. And I totally agree with that. That has not been done. It's something that instead of trying to do another law that we're not going to enforce, why not enforce what's already out there? And I wasn't talking tonight, but at several other community meetings was talked about as houses that are rented out to more than 3 non-related people, and there's 4 people, 5 people, 8 people living in this house. And if the current law doesn't allow that, it's an enforcement issue, and those particular property is not something that should be covered broadly by a continuation of the moratorium or trying to pass something where you need conditional use permit and things like that. I think that goes against private property rights. So, and the last thing, not all owner-occupied people, owner-occupied homes are better maintained than rentals. I think in general that's probably the case, but it's not always the case. As a real estate agent, I've shown owner-occupied homes that I don't consider livable. And so just only because they're owner-occupied doesn't mean they're better. So, thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Gabrielson before he leaves? Okay, thank you for coming. The next speaker I have is Michael Petrick of 311 Poplar Street on Alaska, who representing the Crosse Area Realtors Association.
Good evening. I've spoken to many of you, been at a lot of the meetings, committee meetings and such. I have spoken at the ad hoc committee at their request. And I hear what's going on. And one of the things, the ad hoc committee report they put out was very good. And there's a lot of things we can agree with. And I think number one, what the whole board needs to keep in mind is, the number one point on there was to encourage single-family ownership in the city of La Crosse. And I hear comments from the other side saying that the realtors, we can't wait for the 21st. Well, our livings didn't cease, our business didn't cease because of the moratorium. We move on. But as I pointed out at a meeting the other night, these houses are coming up for sale. A lot of them are foreclosures that are being bought. They're offered to a owner-occupied before they're offered to an investor. We don't go out and pick certain properties and identify them and just say, hey, listen, we won't sell this to a single family. These houses are being offered to single-family residence purchases specific to owner-occupied, and oftentimes it's up to 15 to 30 days that an investor can't even put an offer in on it, but they aren't being bought up. Now, I heard a lady back here say that she's got 2 houses in her neighborhood that are sitting empty. What is the value to the city and to the property if we're offering properties for sale to homeowners, and they aren't buying them. And if investors are gonna be hogtied to not be able to buy them, or not be able to rent them, what is going to happen to the value of these homes? You talk about a tax base, the neighbors are worried about the houses and the depreciation of those houses, but what that depreciation of the value of those properties does to their properties directly affects it. I think anything out of this ad hoc committee, if there's one point, it needs to be that we need to focus and emphasize on encouraging home ownership in the city of LaCrosse, whether it be with programs to encourage the sprucing up. If a young couple buys a home that is a slightly depressed property, an encouragement of granting grants or something to help them bring the property value up. Because right now, they have troubles financing them. A lot of the lenders won't borrow on them, or they don't have the money in their pocket to be able to bring them up to a condition that is favorable to their living conditions. So I would just encourage you to think about that. Thank you.
Excuse me, are there questions for the speaker? I think we have one. I'd like to clarify. It sounded to me, is my interpretation right, that you approve the committee's report, and yet you're not interested in the moratorium?
Well, the moratorium, does anybody here have a count on how many waivers were granted in the moratorium?
I guess 5, 6.
Waivers?
Oh, excuse me, no, there were about 5 or 6 that were
About
denied.
90 waivers or so. I mean, and a lot of those were properties that had been registered. The moratorium wasn't the answer. It wasn't the answer at the beginning. Yes, it brought everything to the forefront, and I think that's great. Everybody's got this keen awareness. But I don't think extending the moratorium, the moratorium is going to be the answer on this.
Okay, so
We agree that there's a lot of good things in this, out of that ad hoc committee report.
Okay, so there's some good things to come out, but not a moratorium.
Not a moratorium.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure. The only other speaker I seem to have in opposition is Mike Kiefer of 2704 South